Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll just speak a little and then we can go on worshipping Srila Thakur Bhaktivinoda by the method of offering Ganga to Ganga. There's a system for worshipping Ganga. First of all, you have to become purified before you offer something. So before you offer the Ganga, you go in the Ganga and dunk down and become purified. And then you worship Ganga by picking some water up and offering it back. So that's offering Ganga to Ganga. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We can worship him by singing kirtans that he has composed. We just sung two, which are very suitable for worshipping a Vaishnava, or Hey Vaishnava Thakur, and Gurudev Kripa Bindu Deya. They're very suitable for worshipping him. He didn't compose them with the thought of worshipping himself. Who is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Well, most of you could, if you were asked that, you could give some kind of answer. Who is he? Very hard to say. Very hard to say about anyone. To understand anyone's psychology, anyone, may be hard to say. Maybe if you live with someone intimately for many years, you think you know them. But you only know them in a certain way. Just like, for instance, the wife may think she knows the husband very well, but that's only in relation to her. The way he relates with other people is very different. Just like Mother Yashoda thinks she knows Krishna very well, but she doesn't know what he's doing at night. She thinks he's sleeping peacefully, but he's not. He's out there dancing with the gopis. She has no idea. Cowherd boys, they see Krishna in one way. Everyone that's Krishna. He relates with everyone differently. He's able to have he's able to and relishes having an intimate personal relationship with every living being. Eko Bahu Syam. The one became many. For the sake of enjoying, he expands into so many living beings. And we can get some idea of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur by going through his life story. And it is inspiring, no doubt. And we could have a very pleasant life if a life was dedicated to just studying Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There's so much rich material, especially in his own writings. You have a very rich life study. You could just dedicate your whole life to studying the Vaishnava Acharyas. Studying means you can do research and try to make your mind one with them by Koromore Atta Sat, we just sung. Make me one with you, he's praying. So we can try to enter into the spirit of their songs, and we'll find Krishna there. Because Krishna Shaitomar, Krishna is the property of the Vaishnava. Krishna is in the heart of everyone, but he is especially manifested in the hearts of the devotees. And the lives of great devotees, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that's a way of expressing in English there's no one like him exactly. You can't say there's anyone exactly like him. They're all different. The Vaishnava Acharyas are all different. But they all have the quality of being deeply absorbed in Krishna. So we find Krishna in this world. Where will we find God in this world? Will we find him in the church? in the mosque, in the temple, maybe. But we'll find him in the heart of the devotees and in the personality of the devotees, in the thoughts of the devotees, Madchitta Madgata Prana. So who is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? From the external perspective, he was successful in life after a difficult start. Difficult start means he was born in a wealthy aristocratic family, but disaster struck his family at a young age with the death of so many relatives, death of his father, and loss of all their property and all their money. And that made it more difficult because everyone still thought that his mother had lots of money, but she didn't have anything. But with much struggle, he became educated and eventually joined the British Civil Service and reached the topmost position the British would give Indians in the civil service, because there was a limit to how far they let them go up. They wouldn't let them go too high. So he reached the top of the civil service. So during his lifetime, or during his manifest presence, which is a more correct Vaishnava way to say it, he was widely known and respected for his material position and achievements. But he wouldn't be remembered for that. Now, today, throughout the world, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Disappearance Day is being observed in so many ISKCON temples and Gauriya Math centers, temples. He's known throughout the world, but he wouldn't be remembered even in Bengal just for what he did materially, so to speak. There are Bengalis remembered from that period, but they're remembered by Bengalis. Few Bengalis are remembered from that period. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, big figure who tutored Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's one of a few figures who are very formative. In Bengal and all of India was changing a lot at that time, especially Bengal more than other places in India, because the Bengalis more than others were taking up the British idea that we should get Bengalis educated in English and then they can restructure the Indian people to be more in line with the British. So Bhaktivinoda wouldn't be remembered for his material success. Even I'm saying the name Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, but outside of Bengalis, his name might be known to a few careful readers of the lives of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. His name pops up in both their biographies, otherwise not known. So a person becomes famous as a Vaishnava. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu we find in his conversation with Ramananda Rai. Among the questions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, that there's a famous series in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again and again answers, Eho Bhaja, Age Kohoa, Eho Hoi, Age Kohoa, about different levels of spiritual development. But there are another whole series of questions also in that conversation. What's recorded? We only have a little recorded in Caitanya-caritamrta. It's just a synopsis of the discussions on the bank of the Godavari between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rai Ramananda. So one of the questions is, Kirti Garna Madhye Jibe Kon Boro Kirti? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, among all kinds of fame, what is the biggest or the best for a living being? Krishna Bhakta Balaya Jaha Hoy Kyati. If someone is famous as a devotee of Krishna, is the reply. So that we can see in the case of Thakur Bhaktivinoda. And so many others. How many kings have there been in the world? Or nowadays we don't have kings, but we have Trumps and Modis and Putins and this and that. How many have come? How many have been forgotten? But we remember Ambarish Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, not for their being a king specifically, but for being great devotees of Krishna. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, during his manifest presence, was widely recognized and respected as a great Vaishnava, which was in itself remarkable, considering that the Bengali educated class, of which he was a part, were a lot to do with British influence, but they were very dismissive of Vaishnavas in particular, because Vaishnava in their understanding meant someone morally depraved. It had come to such a situation. Not that they were all like that. And Jagannath Das Babaji was there also. There were others also. We say about Jagannath Das Babaji, what's his pranam mantra? Vaishnava Sarvabhauma, that's the line I'm looking for, yeah. He's like the emperor of the Vaishnavas. So there were Vaishnavas. They weren't that they were all cheaters. But Vaishnavism in Bengal had become largely associated with low-class people who were beggars and sexually depraved. It means they'd become a Babaji, and then the women would become servants of the Vaishnavas, so to speak. Women who, they may be young widows who left home or were thrown out of the house, or adulteresses, or whatever. Disreputable women. There's no such thing as a disreputable woman nowadays because there's no morality, no standard of modesty. It may be among certain communities, maybe among Mormons and here in the South among Christians. It would be considered still, is it? Maybe, a little bit. We have to love everyone. There's a problem with that, loving everyone, whatever they do. There's a problem with that. And then people will do whatever. Be yourself. No thanks. If that means giving free rein to you have to contact your inner self. If I look at my inner self, I see lust, greed, anger, illusion, pride, envy. I want to get in touch with that inner self. I want to get through all of that and get to the real inner self. So, Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he was living a double life. If you say that, that's considered some kind of insult, that you're pretending to be one thing, but you're actually something else. But he was a responsible government officer, but his real life was devotion to Krishna. And he became well known for that. And he was among others in that generation, among Bengalis, the educated class, who brought Vaishnavism back into the part of the idea of the Bengalis. We should find our original culture, not let it just be destroyed by British propaganda and everything. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur was recognized as very prominent, which was why after his departure, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati organized meetings in Calcutta, and with many prominent people coming and giving speeches about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And that was supposed to be continued on and on, but it's not there now. So clearly his life was Krishna. He wrote so much. Many people write many things. You find profuse authors. No doubt he could have written many books on law. He did write something on law, actually. I don't know if that book's even extant nowadays. But I believe he wrote that in Persian also, because that was the language of the court, and then it gradually changed to English. It was still going on since the British times. You're looking for the title of that book, you're looking for something. It'd be in Urdu, or whatever you want to call it, Persian, Urdu, the title of the book. And you find people write books. You see huge, big books, Legal Digest, huge books, incredibly boring unless you're technical, very technical and full of different cases and different cases which lawyers can consult when they're dealing with a similar case, and then they can quote this case. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he could have done that, but he wrote extensively and profusely about Krishna. And mostly devotees, they remember him for his writings, his songs, in which he expressed his heart, what's in his heart. Krishna's in his heart. I was saying we could study different Vaishnavas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a really pivotal figure. He's writing his books also, very, very important books. We're worshipping him today by singing songs composed by him, and we do so daily, as Srila Prabhupada introduced in our ISKCON liturgy, the daily singing of Jai Radha Madhava. Srila Prabhupada chose that song. Among all the songs of Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he chose to sing this song daily before class. He could have sung all different songs, but somehow he chose that song. And there's so many songs. Of course, you could say it's very short, but there are also other short songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he chose that. And he said there's a complete synopsis of Krishna in Vrindavan is here. And the Gaur Arati Kirtan song we sing every day. And Sharira Vidyajal, that comes from him. He composed songs or kirtans to be sung before taking prasad, during taking prasad, while eating khichdi. There's a whole series. His prasad. So there's while taking shak, there's another song he's composed. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, magistrate and devotee. Magistrate, yeah, that's his external appearance. He exemplified Srila Rupa Goswami's advice to externally appear as a sadhaka, a practicing devotee, and internally cultivating the moods of Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami wrote, Seva sadhaka rupena siddhu rupena chatrahi tadbhava lipsuna karya raja lokanusarata. This is describing a devotee who's pursuing raga-anuga bhakti. He executes devotional service externally, performing all the rules and acting as a regular devotee. But internally, he cultivates devotional service following the activities of a particular associate of Krishna in Vrindavan, and in his siddha roop, in his internal form, he goes on with his devotional service both externally and internally. So external, internal. There are photos of him in his dress as a government magistrate. And there are photos of him also in his simple Vaishnava dress. The photos of him with his family members, various photos are there. So we can see what he looks like, but to know what he is internally, we have to turn to his writings. As Srila Prabhupada said about himself, if you want to know me, read my books. He was profuse in his writing, and his writings have many unique angles on Vaishnava philosophy. Who he is, we can discover from his writings. He says many times, he gives insights into that. Amito Shananda Shukada Bashi, Radhika Madhava Charana Dasi. He says, I am a resident of Shananda Shukada Kunj, which is the place he made for his residence in Godrum. Actually, first he made Surabhi Kunj, and then he got another land not far away and made that Shananda, which he called Swananda Sukhada Kunj, which means the pleasure-giving grove of one's own happiness. Which reminds us of Sharashaki Siddhi. Every devotee has their own, in their perfect state, self-realized state, service to Krishna. Everyone has their own particular mood and method of serving Krishna. So he defines his position. Externally, he's seen in this world as living in Swananda Sukhada Kunja. Externally, but that's bordering on his internal. He actually lives there. It means he's eternally living there. And internally he's cultivating the mood, I am a servant of the lotus feet of Radha and Madhava. Then another song he sings, Amito Radhika Pakapati Shada. That there are different parties of gopis. One is with Radha and another is against Radha. Can you imagine in Vrindavan? There's a whole group who are against Radha. How can that be? In Vrindavan, they're all supporting the pastimes. So he says, I'm on Radha's side. I'm always on her side. Watch out. I won't even look at those who support the other group. Then again he sings, Hari Dayata Radha Charan Prayashi Bhakati Vinod Shri Godruma Bashi. He sings that Radha, who is the lover of Hari, I'm always endeavoring to serve her lotus feet. Who is that? Bhaktivinoda, a resident of Godruma. So we may say, well, he lived there at that time. No, he lives there always. He's eternally resident there. And then especially he describes his internal identity. There are so many songs he mentions, but he describes in one of his songs his eternal form as Kamala Manjari. And he describes who he is. Bharane Tarit, his bodily color is like that of lightning. Bhasha Tarabali, his cloth, dress, sari, whatever it is a row of stars, star-spangled. Kamala Manjari Nam. My name is Kamala Manjari. Share Bara Barsha, Bayasha Shatata. I am eternally 12 and a half years old. How is that possible? Time has no effect there. Shananda Shukada Dhamma. And he lives at Shananda Shukada Kunja. Okay, then what does he do? She. Shri Karpura Sheba Lalita Argon Radha Juteshwari Han. In the group of Lalita's followers, his service is to provide camphor. Provide and prepare it, everything. You just can't go to Patel Brothers and buy camphor if you're in Vrindavan. And the queen of our group is Radha herself. Mameshwari Nath, Srinandanandana Amar Parana Dhana. And we all serve Radha, but we know that the Lord of her life is Nandanandana, Krishna. And that Krishna is also the treasure of my life. So like this, we can get some insight into him. He expresses himself, his ecstasies in chanting the holy names of Krishna. Very clearly, he has a very deep attachment to chanting the holy names of Krishna. The one young boy who used to live in that Godrum, which is now generally that's called Swarupganj, but if you see the signs on the signs say Swarupganj, but in the spiritual vision of Navadvip Dham, that's Godruma. So he was residing there, and there was one young man at the time who used to live just next to Bhaktivinoda. Later he became Gauriya Math Sannyasi, disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So he described as a young man, or a boy we would say, he used to hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the middle of the night. He would be chanting, calling, but like shouting the names of Krishna, calling out as if he's calling to someone. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Very loudly would chant. So his ecstasy in chanting the holy names. Nama Shuddha Rasha. Gau Krishna. He enjoins others to relish the nectar of the holy name. In his song Krishna Nam Dhare Koto Bal, we have the whole series of songs, Sharanagati, how to how to take shelter of Krishna, giving his own personal experiences. And then the penultimate song after 50 songs, we have the penultimate song about chanting the holy names. That when will my offenses cease, and then the holy name will shine in my heart, and then I'll go and preach the holy names. And then he sings the last song of all, Krishnanam Dhare Kotobal, in which he describes how he's burning in the fire of material existence, and the holy name enters his heart, manifests on his tongue, makes him dance, drives him crazy. He surrenders to the holy name, but just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the holy name drives. The holy name is making me mad. I don't know who I am anymore. I lost my identity. And how the holy name takes him to the spiritual world, reveals his position in the spiritual world. He always emphasizes this, how we have to chant the holy names. Yeah, he enjoins us. Nam Shudha Rasha, Gao Krishna Jasha, Rakho Bachana Manamo. The nectar of the holy name. Sing Krishna's glories. And Rakho, keep my words. What I'm telling you, what Bhaktivinoda is telling you, keep them in your mind. So he's saying that specifically in respect to the holy names, that song he just sung, but that's applicable to everything he says. Keep his instructions in our minds, so we can be assured that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very satisfied with the activities here at Krishna Life. He wanted so much the message of Lord Chaitanya would spread in the Western countries. He was one of several at that time who understood that, okay, now there is, the world has become global. The British have come here, and we can go there also. And they're spreading their ideas. We can also go there and spread our ideas to them. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very hopeful that if the message of Lord Chaitanya is presented to the intellectuals of the Western world, they will accept that. He was the first to send any books about Lord Chaitanya and his mission to the Western world, to universities. He heard about Ralph Waldo Emerson. Have you all the Americans, you hear about him? I never heard of him until I got Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gita and saw his name. In England, you never hear about him. But when I saw his name. So he's a famous figure in American history as one of the American transcendentalists. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur had heard of him, and he sent him his book, one of his first books. So he wanted the message of Lord Chaitanya to be spread in the Western countries. In the 1972 edition of Bhagavad-gita as it is, on Srila Prabhupada's instruction, there were full-page photos of paintings of Srila Prabhupada himself, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gorky Shardas Babaji Maharaj, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it was written, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the pioneer of the mission to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya in the Western countries. And he had that vision, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati carried it forward, and then carried it forward in a grand way by our own Srila Prabhupada. So definitely Bhaktivinoda Thakur must be very pleased with what's going on here, distributing these books among the Western people. And it's not only for Indians and only for Westerners. The idea is that because Westerners are dominating the world at the time, it should spread to everyone. Joto Nagaradi Gram, to every town and village in the world. So definitely Srila Thakur Bhaktivinoda is pleased to see you. Gao Krishna Josh, singing the glories of Krishna by distributing these books. And that's the best way to glorify Krishna. Distribute these books which are only meant for glorifying Krishna, and seeing Westerners joining this movement. And although Vaishnavas don't want to be personally worshipped, we can be sure that Bhaktivinoda Thakur will be very happy that all over the world people are celebrating this day, because we're celebrating because it's in relation to Krishna. And that's what he wanted, and that's what's happening. Okay, so I said I'd speak for a short time, otherwise could speak for much. You want to ask a question? All right, you always have a question. Active mind. Active in a good way. So what is your question?
Where did Thakur Bhaktivinoda get the title Bhaktivinoda? Did he give it to himself, or?
No, Bhaktivinoda title was given by the Vaishnavas. This title was given by the Vaishnavas of Bhagnapara, which was, don't hear much about it nowadays, but was an important center of Vaishnavism, Bhagnapara, the Bhagnapara Goswamis. Bhagnapara is next to Kalna, where Gauridas Pandit's house is there with original Gaunitai deities. And Bipin Bihari Goswami, from whom Thakur Bhaktivinoda officially took initiation. He was Bhagnapara Goswamis. Premalanka was another title he was given. I can't remember who that was, by Satchidananda. Can't remember. But I know that Bhaktivinoda title was given by Bhagnapara Goswamis.
Guru Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was hopeful of Western intellectuals appreciating Krishna consciousness. I still feel that we're quite far away from that.
We're a long way from that. And Srila Prabhupada also, it's apparent from his early writings that that's also what he planned to do. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, when he sent missionaries to England, to Europe actually, he wanted them to contact the intellectuals, which they did to some extent, but they didn't get past being considered some kind of curiosity. They didn't break that barrier. And Prabhupada also, it seemed in the beginning, he wanted that, but Krishna manifested the mercy of Lord Chaitanya in a different way. Although Srila Prabhupada, once the movement did get some momentum, then he wanted to meet many important and influential people, which he did, especially in London. Shyamasundar Prabhu arranged meetings with intellectuals, important people, not necessarily many intellectuals. Lord Brockway, members of the Mensa Society, and Zehna, one Oxford professor of Sanskrit and Indian studies. Arnold Toynbee is an important intellectual figure at the time. Are there any important intellectual figures left? Yeah, there's I guess Sam Harris, important intellectual. Dawkins. Yeah, they are important Important means they're public intellectuals, they're called. Jordan Peterson. Public intellectuals, they're called. People are out there having their voice heard. Yeah, we haven't got there yet still. Srila Prabhupada will find it among his letters. He was saying about book distribution. The book distribution is going widely, but we haven't reached the intellectual class. And he specifically wanted the books distributed in universities. That's why he wanted this BBT library party would sell sets of books in the universities. And there are many reviews by scholars who are appreciating them. But I don't know nowadays if scholars are even aware. The movement made quite a big splash in the early days. And then when those brainwashing cases were going up against the devotees in 1976 and 77 and continued afterwards also, there are many intellectuals who came forward and defended the movement as being authentic Indian spirituality. They came forward and they gave their testimony against those who said that this is a brainwashing cult. Nowadays, in the whole study of Gauriya Vaishnavism is increasingly dominated by mostly ISKCON devotees and some from Gauriya Math background also. I don't know how much influence they're having on anything. It's a long shot to try to turn the academic world around. But they're in there anyway.
Hearing the desires of the acharyas, I feel very insignificant that we are doing so little, and we already feel so overwhelmed by this little that we are doing.
Big thing. We have a big things we're enjoying to do. We're making baby steps. Babies have to grow up and become adults. A lot of work to do.
Maharaj, you'll be happy. Every day that we distribute books, we distribute an article by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because teachings of an article written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because
in the Bhagavatam.
teachings of Lord Chaitanya,
teachings of Lord Chaitanya
has the whole introduction. Prabhupada took it from Lord
Yeah.
Chaitanya's. Maharaj, also we see that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he worshipped Gora Gadadhara in Swananda Sukhada Kunj. How come in the temples of Srila Prabhupada is established, he established Gaurnitai deities?
That was discussed after Srila Prabhupada's passing. There was some discussion. That topic was discussed by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And he said that with some of Prabhupada's disciples, he would say that that's because our own Srila Prabhupada is very much in the preaching mood. And Nityananda, he was preaching. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Puri relishing the mood of separation, Radha feeling separation from Krishna. And Nityananda was out in the field doing the work of Lord Chaitanya and preaching. So he was fulfilling the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that way. So Gaurnitai for preaching.